This podcast is produced by the Harwood Productions Podcast Network. To learn more about the network and to find more of our shows, visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harris, and today I'm cooking a stir-fried chicken with vegetables. You know, stir-frying is a great Asian-style cooking technique where you cook things very fast at a high heat. And with this recipe, you can use any kind of vegetables that you like along with the chicken. Whenever you're doing a stir fry, it's important that you get all of your ingredients ready first. So the first thing we're going to start with is making our stir fry sauce. So in a 1 cup measuring cup, I've measured out ½ cup of chicken broth, and I'm going to add to that 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of dry sherry. Now the next ingredient is called oyster sauce, and this is a really unusual ingredient for some people, but it's a must. It's part of the flavor that we expect in a stir fry. It's a very thick sauce, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of that. Then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of sugar and 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. And then to give this just a little bit of zip, I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. And with my spoon, I'm just going to stir this together. I want the sugar and the cornstarch to totally dissolve in that liquid. Then I'm just going to set this to the side. Now the next thing we're going to make is a little garlic ginger oil. So in a small bowl, I'm going to measure out 1 teaspoon of peanut oil. Now if you don't have peanut oil, you could certainly use canola oil. And to the oil, I'm going to add 1 clove of garlic that I've minced. And next I'm going to be mincing some ginger root, and this is what a ginger root looks like. It has these different fingers on it, and I'm going to break one of these off, and I'm going to use my vegetable peeler to take off that tough brown outer coating. Then I'm going to use a fine grater. Now this is not my microplaner, this is a little bit bigger than that, and I'm going to just finely grate this ginger root. And then I'm going to measure 1 tablespoon of that grated ginger root. I'm going to put that in the oil. And then with my little spatula here or a spoon, I'm going to stir that garlic and ginger and oil up. And that's really going to give this a great flavor punch when we go to stir fry. And then I'm going to set that alongside with my stir fry sauce. Now in a medium-sized bowl, I'm going to get my chicken ready. Now I'm using some breast meat, and these were cut into some strips, but I want to cut them in a little bit smaller piece so that I end up with pieces that are more bite-sized. And I'm going to do that with all the chicken, and I'm going to put that into my bowl here. Now I'm going to add some flavor to this chicken. So I'm going to put in 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of dry sherry. Then I'm going to add a really unique flavor. This is sesame seed oil. It's very dark, has a really great flavor, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of that to the chicken. Now I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to mix the chicken in with all those great flavors. And then to this, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 1 tablespoon of flour. And using my spoon, I'm just going to toss the chicken in with that flour and cornstarch. Now we're going to get our veggies ready. Now I like to add a bunch of different vegetables to this stir fry. You can use whatever you would like, but let me just show you what I do. The first thing I'm going to use is a baby bok choy. I love the flavor of it. And with bok choy, you have really 2 parts to the vegetable. You have this sort of more dense part down here, and then you have the leaf part, and we want to separate those 2. So I'm going to gather the bok choy up, and I'm just going to cut off and separate the leaves, and I'll run my blade through those one more time. Those go in one pile, and then I'm going to run my blade through the more woody part That's going to go in a separate pile. When you're cooking vegetables stir fry, you have to think about the density of the vegetables and how quickly they're going to cook. So the things that are not going to take too long, I'm going to put in a pile on this side of my board, and the things that will need to take longer to cook, I'm going to put on this side of my board. Now, one of the other vegetables I love are little bits of broccoli, these little florets. And I have about 2 cups of those. I'm going to add that to my pile of vegetables that take longer to cook. And then the other vegetable I like to add for color is some red bell pepper. Now, again, this is going to take a little bit longer to cook, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it almost like a rough chop, about this size. And that's going to go with my broccoli and bok choy. Now for a little bit of onion flavor, I like to add 3 scallions or green onions. And I'm just going to cut those up into a nice thin slice. Then I like to add a little bit of orange color. So I have some grated carrot. I'm going to put in a couple of handfuls of that. I also have some pea pods. Now, if you find that you have some sugar pea pods, that's what I have here today, or you have snow peas, either one works great. These were actually frozen, and I ran some cold water over them, kind of defrosted them a little bit, and I have 2 cups of pea pods that I'm going to add, and these won't take very long to cook at all, so I'm going to put that on this side of my board. And then the last vegetable is some bean sprouts, and I'm going to add a couple of handfuls of fresh bean sprouts. So you can see on my board here, I have the vegetables that will take a little longer to cook and the ones that I can put in at the very end. Well, it's time to start cooking now. Now over here at the stove, I have my largest pan that I have. It's a shallow pan, but it's got a lot of surface area. Now I have this on medium-high heat, and I need this pan to get really, really hot. So I'm going to let this heat up for another 2 minutes or so. Now that the pan is nice and hot, I'm going to drizzle in about a tablespoon of peanut oil. And because the pan is so hot, it's going to start to smoke like this, but that's okay. I'm going to immediately take my chicken and I'm going to toss it into the pan in a single layer. Now I want to let this sit in the pan for about a minute. Now you can see just after a minute we're getting nice color on that chicken. So I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to let that cook for about another minute. So what I'm going to do is take all of that chicken out of the pan and put it onto a plate here on the side. Now you can see I still have quite a bit of fond in the bottom of the pan. That's fine. That's going to give us good flavor. I'm going to put in about another tablespoon of peanut oil, and then I'm going to bring my vegetables over. The first thing we're going to do is cook our more woody vegetables, the broccoli, the bok choy stems, and the red bell pepper. And again, with my spatula, I'm going to flip this around for about 2 minutes. Now you can see as we're cooking the vegetables, you do want to keep them moving around. And you see because we're cooking them at a high heat, the color is really intensifying. It looks so good. Now we're going to, at this point, after the 2 minutes, I'm going to push all the vegetables to the side of the pan. And I'm going to take my garlic and ginger mixture. I'm going to put that right in the middle, and I'm going to press it out, just like that. Then I'm going to toss it around, and now I'm going to add all of my softer vegetables. And I'm going to stir these around for about 2 minutes. Now at this time, I switch back to my tongs. I kind of go back and forth between the spatula and the tongs, but because we're cooking at a high heat, I do want to keep the vegetables moving. Now at this point, we're going to take and put all of our chicken back in the pan. I'm going to give that a little stir. And then we want to get our stir fry sauce, and I'm going to give that a stir because you can see that cornstarch is kind of settled at the bottom. And I'm going to give that a mix up, and then I'm going to pour that right on top of everything. And then again, with my tongs, I'm going to stir that in. And this is only going to take about a minute, because as soon as that sauce starts to thicken up and coat our vegetables and our chicken, just like that, then this is ready to serve. Now, as you can see, when you cook stir fry, it goes really fast. That's why we had to have all of our ingredients ready to go. And when you go to serve it, you just pile it onto your plate. You can serve it with noodles or rice. Tonight, I'm just serving it like this. And what you'll find is that the vegetables are still nice and crisp, but that chicken is nice and tender. Now, if you'd like to give this stir-fried chicken and vegetables a try at home, just go to our website and visit the Easy Entertaining show notes, and I'll have the recipe there for you. And as always, if you have any questions, please send me an email. I'll see you next time.